I have my green screen background this morning because I am in a hotel room in Spokane, Washington, getting ready to go back to the airport to head home. So, luckily, I had time this morning to do my live at its regularly scheduled time. And so you're going to, just this is just a warning. You're going to see me looking this way, and then you're going to see me looking this way all morning long because of this hotel room setup. I have my laptop to one side, and I have my notes to the other side. So it's not the same as when it's all just sitting behind me when I'm at home. So let's get right to it. I'm looking over here at the chat, and I see that Wayne is here and Andy was here earlier. Thank you both for coming a little bit early, which they do on my lives. And I really appreciate that because it helps me to get started. And I'm looking at the top of my phone and I see that there are 4 likes. And so that makes me happy. So let's get right into it. What I wanted to talk about today were vision boards, and not just the vision boards that we did years ago, where we would cut out photos from magazines or from drawings or something, and we would even print out photographs that we had taken, and we would put them all as a collage on a board. Well, a friend of mine recently, let's say within the past month or so, talked to me about, I have an iPhone, and they said, I have a vision board on my iPhone, and I didn't know that you could do this. And so my friend taught me how to make a digital vision board. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. Now, on an Android, I would have to figure that out if you have an Android. But on an iPhone, you can go into your pictures and say, create a album. And when you create that album, you can put that album on your home screen. And it's an icon that's much larger than your regular icons. And what that album does is it switches the pictures, sort of like a desktop background changing app that you could have on your laptop or your computer screen. And so, oh, good morning, Julie. And so what I have on my phone is a vision board. And what I wanted to talk about is that I have pictures of what I want my life to be once I pay off my debt. And so one of the things that's been just life-changing about this trip to Spokane, and you all may have seen that I dropped a video yesterday of my friend Greg, who, if I ever do interviews on YouTube and I want to remain anonymous, I use his name. And so if you ever hear me on someone else's channel and I'm wanting to remain anonymous, I'll give my name as Greg. And so I do it in honor of him. And so, because I think that a lot of the things in my life that I have today started with him. You know, I started from nothing, and that's where I came from. And so this trip to Spokane has been life-changing for me. You know, meeting up with him again and going to the river and just the experiences that I've had this week really have motivated me in different directions. And this connects to the vision boards because my original vision board is more about motivating me to pay off my debt. It's not so much about the life that I want to live in the future. And I'm starting to think about that after this trip to Spokane. So, one of the things that I wanted to talk about, with the vision board is, and let me ask everyone to put in the chat, one, have you created a vision board in the past? And please respond to the pinned comment that I have. If you had all your debt paid off, what would your life look like? What would you do if you had all of your debt paid off and money was not a concern? See, and this is part of the vision board that I had 30 something years ago. See, I listened to this guy that said it was a free CD. I know, old school, free CD that was 21 Secrets to the Self-Made Millionaire. And one of the first questions that this person asked was, what would you do if money was not an issue? Where would you go? And this is when I had nothing. I had nothing, no money, barely had a job, just above minimum wage, nothing. No education beyond my high school education, but nothing. See, I did not know in my future I was going to have a PhD and going to become a doctor. I had no clue. All I knew was that I had a dream. And that's what I've done all these years, is chase my dreams. And this trip to Spokane has given me new dreams for me to chase in my future, if that makes any sense at all. And so let's talk about, I'm going to look over here to the, oh, hi, Julie Jordan Scott. I just saw your short when you were on the Matthew Henson Trail, which is where I used to live in Silver Spring, Maryland. And I did not appreciate the Matthew Henson Trail as much as I appreciate it now. When I lived there, my life was kind of chaotic, and so I did not have a lot of appreciation for much of anything. And I appreciate that trail more now that I don't live there anymore. But I just wanted to mention that was a thought that I just saw that just before the live got started. So as you all can tell, I'm like a squirrel. I just get sidetracked and stuff. So I'm looking over here at the chat, and then I'm looking over here at my notes, and I'm going to try to stay on the notes because after this, I have to pack my suitcase and head to the airport. And while this is my first trip to Spokane, I'm hoping that it won't be my last trip because I put out a short yesterday that said vision board. And it was these guys that were out fishing on the Spokane River, actually catching fish. And I believe that they're trout, from what I read, sitting on the banks of the river. And I'm not a big trout person, but I'm a big fisherman. And so that gave me new dreams to come back to the Northwest and fish. I mean, there are rivers that run all through the Northwest, and I just never connected it with I could possibly fish there. And so that's what's in my new dreams and my new vision board. But here, let's go through the psychology of debt and what happens when you're in debt. Because I'm paying off debt currently. Now, when you look at the amount of debt I have in percentage of my net worth, it's a small amount of debt. However, it doesn't matter how big your debt is or how small your debt is. It's how you feel about the debt. And I just don't want it anymore. I would rather have a debt-free life. And I'm not anti-debt. I'm not. I use debt to build wealth. So I am not against debt. I'm just getting to a point in my life where I would like to enjoy life more and enjoy debt less. So there may come a changing point in your life where you say, I think I've had enough with the debt, using debt to build wealth. I've had enough. And so I have enough wealth. It's time to pay off the debt. That's where I'm at. And so debt can have stress. There can be stress with that. I don't have a lot of stress because I'm very grateful for everything I have in my life. I'm grateful for all the people I have in my life. And so I don't have a lot of stress, which is why you see meditation videos on my channel, because I like to meditate and not have stress in my life. I just don't do stress. I do gratitude, but I don't do stress. And so when people are in debt, especially if you have no assets to offset the debt, then it becomes a mindset of scarcity. There's never going to be enough. And that's where I used to be. Hi, CL Fantasy. I can see the chat on my phone, so I'm going to try to do it there as opposed to looking over here to the YouTube studio and turning my head away. And CL Fantasy says, thank you, CL, because I don't know if anybody likes my meditation videos, but I can use them to calm my nerves. And little spoiler alert, I didn't make any money on my rental properties this month. In fact, watch my end of month video and you'll see how much I lost this month. But meditation keeps me calm. Meditation tells me it's going to be okay. Now, I didn't lose a tremendous amount of money, but the point is I didn't make a profit this month. Maybe next month, maybe last month I made a tiny profit. Rental properties are not a just guaranteed straight line to wealth. It's not. It's up and down like the stock market. It really is pretty much the same thing as the stock market. You have good months, you have good years, you have bad years. It's the same thing. So now let's talk about why debt feels overwhelming. Because it depends on your particular circumstances and what you want out of life. Julie at Happy on Monday, she talks about the pillow test. And she said, I have a lot of cash in case the stock market goes down. It lets me sleep at night. And so I've heard of the pillow test for many, many, many years. And I too do the pillow test. I think everyone should do the pillow test. Do what allows you to sleep at night. Now, I have a lot of debt. With rental properties, but I'm just talking about my consumer debt right now. That's not a lot. However, the consumer debt does not allow me to pass the pillow test. And that's why the consumer debt has to go. Now, once my consumer debt is gone, which is where the vision board comes in, it's keeping me focused on paying off my consumer debt. Once the consumer debt is gone, then I'm going to start using the snowball method to pay off my rental properties until all that debt is gone. And what does all of that add up to? Well, it adds up to more financial freedom. See, I'm financially free today. I am not in any, financial distress per se, except for the IRS. Okay, we'll admit, this whole deal with the IRS is stressful. But I'm not in, like, I'm going to get evicted stress, like I was 38 years ago when I met my friend Greg. I was coming out of the homeless shelter, and I was out of the homeless shelter for about 3 months, maybe 5 months before I met him. But at 3 months out of the homeless shelter, guess who had not paid their rent for 3 months coming out of the homeless shelter? Yeah, you're looking at him. And so I had a 3-day eviction notice on my door. 3 months. I was about to be homeless again. And as things started to turn around, now I'm the guy with the rental properties, and I'm the guy that does have to evict people sometimes if they haven't paid for 3 months or 4 months. And what I'm going through right now, see, I know, sidetrack, side story, off of the whole vision board thing. What I'm going through right now is that we had a tenant that was under eviction. We were starting the eviction process. They filed bankruptcy. Never seen that before. Things are going to happen in your financial life that you've never seen before. And this is why you have to be able to pass the pillow test. And this is why a vision board comes in handy. When this person filed bankruptcy, That stopped the whole eviction process, and nobody in my tiny town had ever gone through that before. It just sort of doesn't happen in my little town. So we had to hire an attorney from the big city in North Alabama somewhere and pay them money to navigate us through an eviction on top of a bankruptcy, because I don't want to do anything illegal and get myself in trouble. So you are going to run into things in life that you've never seen before. And that's what I'm doing. But a vision board keeps you focused on the future, not what's happening today. Yes, today is kind of choppy, right? We have medical issues, we have all kinds of things happening today. But I love to look at my future. I love to dream about my future. Going to college was a dream for me. I was only trying to pass one college class. I had no idea I was going to be in college for 18 years. I had no idea. See, but it started with that dream of passing one college class. And that's where the vision board comes in. So CL Fantasy says she needs to evict the cat out of her chair. And oh, thank you, Lisa. Lisa is helping me as a moderator. Thank you, Lisa, because I have no idea. I didn't even see it. See, I'm staring at me in the camera and I don't see anything else. Which, thank you, Lisa. And I tell you, Lisa has her live every Sunday, and I'm trying to think. Lisa, put in the time in Eastern time that you do your live on Sundays, because I don't want to mess it up. I'm in Central time, and I have an alarm in my phone, for her live every, I believe it's 3 o'clock Eastern time, because I'm on there, I believe, at 2 o'clock Central time, I think. But I'd rather Lisa put it in the chat so that I don't mess it up and have people go into her channel. But Lisa talks about the stock market, and rental properties are the same as the stock market. They go up, they go down. And going back to what CL was saying about her cats, you guys would love watching her paint and her cats are just walking around. Now, you want to talk about peace and serenity. There is nothing more peaceful. My meditation videos, I love them, but her cats are peaceful. They just bring me peace and joy. And so I'm sitting there and I'm watching that and I'm listening to the music that she has in the background. And I'm like, life is good. Life is good. No matter what you have going on, if you're watching her paint, life is good. So there you go. And that's why I love all the people that come to my channel. My channel will grow. I know my channel will grow because on this trip to Spokane, I was given advice on how to grow my channel. As unbelievable, and I took notes, okay? So I'm going to try all the different things that I was told on this trip on how to grow my channel. So the point is, you never know where your information is going to come from. And so we talked about that. Let me ask you, if anybody feels comfortable putting in the chat, what type of debt are they currently paying off? Credit cards, student loans, me, student loans, that's me. Auto loans, mortgage, personal loans, me, that's me, personal loans. And CL Fantasy says, trying new things is worthy of the vision board. Yes, I am at this point in my life creating my future by putting my future on a vision board. And it's just expanded. It's just expanded, and it keeps expanding. It keeps expanding. If anyone has seen the short that I put out of the first class cabins on airplanes, this was just something that sort of popped up in my news feed. But when I went to look at the pictures, I had never seen first class cabins like these. And I thought to myself, someday I want to fly to Europe and I want to go in these first class cabins. Now, can I afford them today? Absolutely not. Can I afford them in 2027? Probably not. But I'm looking at 2028, 2029. If I stay on track with my vision board that I have now, which is about paying off debt, saving up enough cash to pay cash for my next car. And hopefully you guys have seen my vision of my next car, which is a BMW Z4. So if you look up a BMW Z4, I've got to save up that amount of cash because I want that car. I have put it in my head, that's my next vehicle. So, so let's talk about why visualization works. Because the one good thing about what we're doing today and not having my computer monitor behind me is that I can really easily see the time. And so I hopefully will stay on track. Well, I'm already behind schedule, but I'll stay on track with, the focus on this one. Dr. Sev talks money. See, I didn't see her. I had to look over to my YouTube studio. And so, thank you, Dr. Sev Talks Money. She has a fabulous YouTube channel. And one of the things that she talks about is like having a divorce in late life and starting your financial world over. And I find that very interesting. And of course, she's a doctor, I'm a doctor. So, of course, we have that connection. And so, anyway, let's talk about why visualization works. Well, and I can't tell you why it would work for you. I can tell you why it would work for me. And the reason that it works for me is because of Chris Hogan, who used to be on the Dave Ramsey show. But Chris Hogan talked about retirement. And what he talked about was he said, dream in high definition. And I thought about that. Now, this was many years ago that he said that, but I've never forgotten that because what I do is I might look at a house, a big, beautiful home, like a mansion, overlooking the Mediterranean. And I tell myself I would like to have that someday. Would I really like to have that? No. I don't want a big, huge house where I have to pay people to maintain the house and all the money costs that go into something that huge. No, it's the point of I would like to have the amount of money that I could afford that kind of a mansion. So it's not about having the item. It's about having the option to buy it if you wanted it. That's what it is. We hear about all of these stars or sports stars or music stars that all go broke because they have all this money and they just buy whatever they want. Well, I don't want to be that. I don't want to just buy whatever I want. I want to be able to afford anything I want. If anybody's familiar with Paula Pant, because she just popped into my head, her podcast says you can afford anything. You just can't afford everything. So it's up to you to decide what you put on your vision board and what's most important to you. What's most important to me now, and this just happened in the last day or so. So keep in mind, my vision of my future just keeps changing. Now I want a winter home on a river. I want a river home on a river. I didn't want that a week ago. Could not have told you that I wanted a winter home on a river. But now I do. Actually, not a winter home, a summer home. There you go. See, I keep mixing it up and getting it backwards because I don't want to be someplace where it's cold. I want to be someplace where it's warm. And I'm telling you, up here in Spokane, The weather in June is beautiful. It is beautiful. And so that's what I'm now looking for in my life because I've never been here before. I didn't know. See, you don't know what you don't know. And so now I want to come up here in the summer and still be down south in the winter. So hopefully I get that straight in the future and quit saying it backwards. But that is why this is important, because your vision keeps changing. Every day, every week, your vision gets larger and larger and larger. Because as you accomplish the goals on your vision board, it gives you more options. So as I pay off my debt, which is my current vision board goal, it gives me more options in the future. As I pay off my rental properties, it gives me more options in the future. I can go to Europe. Now, I don't know whether I'll be going first class. I'm not going to say that I'll be in those first class cabins with the little tables and the napkins and all that kind of stuff. But I will be able to go to Europe business class. I know that much. Why? Because I have friends on YouTube who do that. It's a Canadian couple, and they travel the world in early retirement. And I watch them travel the world in early retirement. And one of the things that they started doing was they realized that if it's a long trip of 8 hours or more, they use their points. And because they do a lot of credit card points. I'm not a big credit card point person, but they use their credit card points to upgrade to business class. So because they fly around the world on these long flights, business class, when I go to Europe, I want to go business class. And so that's how my dreams develop. It's by watching you folks on YouTube. I get dreams. I get dreams just by watching you. So let's talk about this. SEUC, has anyone heard of RAS, the reticular activating system? Somebody put a 1 or a yes in the chat if you've heard of this, because I know someone has heard of this. And don't forget to type fire in the chat so that other people can come to your channel. It makes it easy for folks to click and get to your channel. But the way that RAS works is when you buy a car, let's say you buy a red Toyota, you start seeing red Toyotas everywhere on the road, because that's now what your mind is focused on. And so it's the same way with your vision board. If you see debt-free people, or you see on your vision board, if you have people driving the kind of car, I have this BMW Z4 on my vision board. And I had to go and search for a few pictures to try and get some current pictures, because I only buy cars in 2 colors. I buy silver or I buy black. Okay, that's it. Those are my 2 colors. I don't know where I got that from, but it's in my head. And so I had to find a black BMW Z4 for my vision board. And they have a gray, but it's not the silver that I want. So I'm just going with black. And that's what I put in my vision board. And so when I see that over and over and over again, oh, yeah, it's a convertible. Just so you know, I want a convertible. Never had a convertible. I want a convertible. And so, and so Lisa J. Stock said that she had not. Well, yeah, once you buy a certain kind of car, whatever it is, that's sort of what you see all the time. And so what I like to do is I like to have pictures of where I want my life to be in 5 years. Do I want to be sitting on a beach? Do I want to be teaching my students from Costa Rica? See, that's my dream, is being on a beach teaching my students. So yes, I'm living on a beach, but I'm also making money while living on the beach. Now, granted, once my debt is paid off, I can invest 100% of my teaching income in the stock market. And that's where Lisa J. Stocks comes in. I keep trying to get her to manage my money, but she doesn't do that. She's teaching everyone to manage their own money. And yes, I've managed my own stock investments up until now, but at some point in my future, I don't want to do it anymore. So mostly I do ETFs and index funds and just let them ride. That's what I do. But Lisa is good with stock market. She goes deeper into the stock market. And another person I'll mention is Tiff from Tiff's Take. She goes deep into the YouTube analytics. So I don't go deep into the YouTube analytics, and I don't go deep into the daily activity of the stock market. But these folks do, and so I watch them and I learn. So if you are a YouTube creator who really wants to go into how to grow your channel from an analytics standpoint, Tiff's Takes has all that information. And so, and that's what I mean is I watch people on YouTube and I'm just imitating you all. That's like, excuse me, my friend Greg, I imitated him when I was new. And I was telling you guys, he taught me how to get money orders to pay my child support to the child support court because I didn't have a bank account. I didn't know how to pay those people. I had never gotten a money order before. But he taught me, here's how you get a money order. You mail it off, and that way you stay out of jail. Because my two goals way back when was don't become homeless again and don't go to jail. And the child support court said, you don't make a payment, you're going to jail. That's where I was. And within 5 years, I paid all that back payment back. And they sent me a letter saying thank you, because a lot of men do not pay back all of their back child support. See, I did not know how good my life was going to get. I didn't realize how good my life was going to be today. I had no clue. I have a life beyond my wildest dreams. I just have to say that. And so, yes, I have debt. Yes, I have rental properties where I'm going through an eviction and a bankruptcy and all that stuff. It's still a life beyond my wildest dreams. And I think that's why I'm so positive all the time, is because when you have a life beyond your wildest dreams, how can you not be happy? At least that's me. How can I not be happy? And so we are going to keep going. My chat is moving slow in there. And thank you, Mrs. G, for saying blessings. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I need all the prayers I can get because I still have future dreams. And I don't want to blow it, right? I don't want to mess up my future, right? So I'm trying to chill, right? And just trying to do life on life's terms one day at a time. That's what I'm trying to do here. So let's talk about why. Oh, and I've got 14 likes. See, I never even look at the likes, just so y'all know. Some people go, oh, I want this many likes. I don't even look at them because I'm so like a deer in the headlights on a live and trying to stay on track with my topic that one, I don't see the chat, I don't see the lives. People are like, hey, Daryl, I was in your live. And I was like, I'm sorry, I didn't see, I'm sorry. So I try to say hi to everyone, but sometimes I'm just focused on one, because I'm an introvert, getting through this, which is a stretch for me. This is really putting myself out there and pushing myself to my limits. But when I push myself to my limits like this, my life gets better. My life just gets better. And so let's talk about why vision boards fail. because I'm sure there's someone out there saying, oh, vision boards don't work. I used them in the past and they don't work. Hotel coffee here. In case you're wondering, where's my big, huge, coffee mug that I have every Friday? Well, I'm not at home and I didn't drive here in my car. Had I driven here in my car, I would have my big coffee cup. But getting on an airplane, you don't have your big coffee cup, and I'm all bummed. So, anyway, vision boards may not work, right? Like we talked about the old vision boards where you put a collage together and maybe you put it up on your wall. I used to try and have it on my desktop of my computer. No, what I look at all the time is my cell phone. So I have a wallpaper on my cell phone once you log into it that shows a handful of cash. That's how I'm starting to buffer. I'm going slower and buffering. I can see it. But we're going to just try to push through and hope that the live doesn't cancel somehow. So I have a hand holding a big pile of cash on my. You can call that cringy, but that keeps me focused on my future. Other people may have their children or grandchildren. My lock screen is my puppy, right? So you know that every time my phone's locked and I have to push that code to get in, his beautiful face is looking at me. See, have joy in your life. Have joy, and you will be happy most of the time. And so the reasons that vision boards fail is no tracking. You're not looking at that vision board trying to get to the items on the vision board. No accountability. I have asked people on my YouTube channel to email me to keep me accountable for paying off my debt. I am doing my monthly end of income or end of month income and spending video so that I am accountable to people in paying off my debt. Now, I'm not going to pay off debt every single month because every single month is not perfect. I may pay off a tiny bit, I may pay off a large amount, but I'm going to be focused and I'm going to hold myself accountable to you that I pay off my debt every month. No metrics. Let's talk about what you can measure, you can improve. So I keep track of my net worth. If you don't keep track of your net worth, you won't see each month, each year that your life is getting better. It's growing. Now, in theory, if you're in the stock market or even in the real estate game, your net worth can go down. Let's say I have a large expense in real estate. I have a roof that needs to be replaced. Well, that's a large expense. My net worth would go down. But overall, with the number of renters that I have, they are paying off my mortgages every month. And so over the course of 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, they are increasing my net worth. They are. I'm doing my little bit by not spending. That's my job. But the point of having rental properties is that other people are paying off your mortgage. Now, I have to pay the maintenance fees or the, how do you say it, the capital expenditures, right? Which are the large maintenance items. Let's say a new roof or a new HVAC system, refrigerators, washers and dryers. Those things I have to pay. But here's the deal. Because I'm changing the way that I manage my money, I will be saving extra money from the renters to pay for those capital expenses. That's what I should have been doing the whole time. That's what I will be doing in the future. When you know better, you do better. So now let's look at this from a future standpoint. Now, the renters are not only paying off my properties, their money is also paying for the property's repairs and the property's capital expenses. So none of it is coming from me. That's my future. And that's the way you look at it, is a rental property is not you putting out money. If you do it correctly, it's other people buying you future. And that's what you're doing. That's just one way of looking at rental properties. And yes, there's stress to get that train rolling down the tracks. It takes some years to get it where it's really self-sustaining. But once it's self-sustaining, it'll not only give you an income, but it will pay for itself. So it's not really you putting out money every month in maintenance. It's the people living in the housing that you're providing are putting out the money for the maintenance, they're paying the mortgage, they're paying the insurance, they're paying the property taxes. They're really paying for the whole thing, if you're doing it correctly. In the past, I haven't done it correctly. In the future, plan is do it correctly. So that's metrics. You have to measure. Every month, I'm measuring, is my debt going down? See, that's on a very more simple scale. Keep measuring your progress. With Lisa J. Stocks, are your stocks improving? You know, Julie at Happy on Monday, she shows the bucket strategy, and she shows whether her net worth goes up each year in retirement. And she's been in retirement for a couple of years now. And her investments have increased. Now, we've had good stock market days, but she measures her investments. And then she makes decisions. Do I move some of this from cash into investments, or do I keep it in cash so I can sleep at night? Everyone has to do what works for them. So I may not have done real estate correctly all the time, but I have done better and better and better over the years and made better decisions as I've learned more and become more comfortable with the way and where I put my money. Like building an emergency fund now. That's what I'm doing now. I'm more comfortable with an emergency fund now than I was in the past. I just wasn't comfortable having cash sit. But I am now. I am now. So that's the other thing. The last thing I'm going to share about why vision boards don't work or sometimes fail is that you're not updating them. And this is where my digital vision board really comes in. I mean, very powerful, very strong. I was at a grocery store yesterday, and as I was leaving the grocery store, they had those free magazines that they have, near the front door of a grocery store, like real estate magazines or local things to do kind of a thing. I always grab the real estate ones, right? I was in Key West, Florida, and I'm grabbing this real estate magazine showing these multi-million-dollar homes in Key West, Florida. And I'm like, I could do that. I could buy that multi-million-dollar home in Key West, Florida. Sure, I could do that, right? Yeah, that's me, Mr. Dreamer. See, and so what I did was I picked up this magazine that showed homes on the lake or homes on the river. Now, they might have been here in Spokane, but they're up here in the Northwest. And I took a photo of the cover of this real estate magazine that showed this beautiful home on the water at sunset, and that goes into my vision board. So update your vision board is very easy with a digital vision board, especially one you have on your phone, that you're looking at your phone all the time, every day, most of us nowadays. And so that's the place to have that vision board. Now, my vision board used to be only my wallpaper on my cell phone. And every year I change it. So this year it has hands holding money. And it just goes into the back of my brain. See, it's subliminal. And I just happen to believe in that stuff. I believe that if you listen to subliminal sounds many, many years ago, okay, I'm not talking about today. I used to go to sleep and listen to ocean waves that had subliminal messages in that sound. All I would hear is ocean waves all night. But somewhere underneath all that, it would say, you're successful. You're going to have a wonderful life. You're going to be profitable. I don't know if it worked. You guys be the judge. Okay, my life is so much better today. I think it worked. But that's just me. That's just what I believed. So I think that if I look at this wallpaper, even though I don't notice the wallpaper, I go in and I'm clicking on my different apps and stuff like that. I don't notice the wallpaper, but that is sinking into the back of my brain to have money in my hands. So that's a vision board. But now I have a vision board that actually, if you click on this album in your iPhone, it will make a video of the different pictures. And I posted that on my YouTube channel. I have one a few weeks ago where I recorded my cell phone and then put music to it. And so that is a video vision board created on your cell phone. And that's where a digital vision board really comes in handy. So if anybody has an Android, please message me or something, get a hold of me so that you can tell me how to do a similar thing on an Android. Oh, good. I think CL Fantasy typed fire, I think. For some reason, my eyes are starting to go because of this ring light behind my phone. So you're not supposed to tell the behind the scenes things, I guess, on a YouTube Live. But sometimes this ring light behind my cell phone, which I keep, it packs in my suitcase so I can take my ring light and do a live from anywhere. Sometimes it starts to get to these old eyes. And for whatever reason, things went blurry for a few seconds. And I was sitting here going, uh-oh, I'm going blind. But I'm not. Everything's back now. But for a few seconds, everything went blurry. And you're not supposed to say stuff like that, I guess, on a live. I've never heard people talk about the background stuff. So let's keep going with this. And let's get into designing your debt-free dashboard. Because a lot of us on my channel and a lot of the channels I watch, budgeting channels, people tracking their income channels, a lot of us are trying to get out of debt. And a lot of us are trying to get out of debt for different reasons. Everyone has different reasons. You know, there was one lady on YouTube a couple of years ago anyway. I heard she was on YouTube so that she could make income, so that she could hire a lawyer to get her son back from Child Family Services. Everyone is on YouTube for a different reason, and they're all valid. Whatever it is, your reason is valid. My reason is valid. You guys keep me focused. See, I said, well, I'll start a YouTube channel to help the homeless. Look who's benefiting from being on YouTube. Me. I'm paying off my debt and becoming accountable and getting a better life because I'm on YouTube trying to get monetized so that I can donate the money to the homeless. Do you see how when you have a good motive in life, good things happen? They can't help but happen. I have had so many people like Greg that helped me along the way on the years. And just like the advice I got about growing my YouTube channel this week, I'm being helped along my path by very kind people. See, it happens. I believe in karma. And I think that if you treat people nice, you get treated nicely. And so I really love nice, kind people. I do, because they are going to be rewarded by having kindness sent to them. That's just what I believe. I don't know. Yeah, he's crazy, he's wacky, but I just like nice people. And um, so these are ways that you can design your debt payoff journey, right? You can have one of those debt payoff thermometers. That's a vision board. Now, I'm not sure how you could do that on your cell phone, but I know that there's a way you can do it. I just would have to take time to figure that out. But a lot of people put the thermometer in the kitchen, on the wall. You know, I would watch some show, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but they would have these paper links where they would take paper together in links and make a chain. And they would have their children, every time they would pay off some debt, they would have their children break off one of these links from the chain, like every time they paid off $100, so that the children were involved in the debt payoff journey. And I can't remember where I saw it. That was many years ago. You could have a goal of a fire number. Now, they say that you can track your fire number by looking at the amount of income that you want to have in retirement and saying 25 times that, which is the 4% rule. So 25 times the amount of income that you want in retirement is your fire number. Some people do that. I've never had a fire number because I never knew when I went into retirement, which I went in fairly quickly, right? I made a decision on Friday that I was going to quit on Tuesday and be retired. It was like that. So I didn't have a fire number. I didn't have an income number. I had no idea. All I knew was I have enough income to pay my mortgage, pay my car payment, do maintenance on my motorcycle. I said I have enough. That's all I knew. I had no idea that in retirement my income was going to grow. I didn't. I did not know that I was going to go from one rental property when I quit my job to multiple rental properties. I had no idea how my retirement was going to expand my financial life. And so my point is, you do the best you can do and let life and the blessings of life help you along the way. I always tell all of you, I am so blessed. I am beyond blessed. There's no way I could have predicted that my life would be where it's at 6 years into retirement, and I've quadrupled my net worth. How does that happen? See, and now I'm more intentional about my future and my financial future. It's not just, it just happened as a blessing, right? Now I'm more intentional about growing my wealth. And not only growing it, but preserving it and keeping the wealth that I've accumulated. So there's preservation and then there's growth. So I am into both of those. And we are checking our time. We are staying with it here. We have talked about artificial intelligence, AI. We've talked about AI on YouTube. We've talked about people are doing AI shorts on YouTube. There are many different things where AI and ChatGPT are all coming into play. I've used them on my rental portfolio, which I didn't know. Somebody made the suggestion, look at the last 5 or 6 years of your rental portfolio. One, see how it's grown, but also see where the blind spots are. Maybe you need to get rid of a property or two that's not really producing. I would not have seen that if it wasn't for AI and ChatGPT. But you can use that for your vision board. That's why we're staying focused on vision boards. Oh, hi, Marlene. Marlene is here from Marlene Motivates. See, I love motivation. And she said she believes in kindness, right? And so, see, I have motivational channels that I watch. I have stock channels that I watch. I have budget payoff channels that I watch. So I watch a lot of different things that bring me peace and serenity in my life, right? Because your life is up to you, and how you want to live your life is up to you. Everyone gets to live the life that they want to live. And my dream is being around nice people. That's it. I have some of the best friends in the world. I can't tell you guys about some of the friends that I have today that I just go hang out with, and these people don't want anything from me. And I don't want anything from them. It's really funny. I'll go out with my friends and we're all arguing over who's going to pay. You know what I mean? Everybody wants to take care of everybody else. You know, I was at a dinner one time. I know, another side story. Daryl with the squirrel side story. So I was at a dinner one time, and a person that I didn't even know, he was in our group, but I hadn't really met him that well. He went over and told the maitre d' that he was paying for everybody's dinner before he ever came over to the table and sat down. And I didn't know. So, we're all ordering whatever we're ordering. And I mean, we're ordering these expensive meals. At the end of the thing, I'm like, where's the check? And one of my friends leaned over to me and he said, that guy took care of it before he came over to the table and sat down. And I thought, there are some beautiful people in the world. And I said, someday I want to be like that guy, be generous enough to people, even people I don't know, and say, you know what? I have this. And just a little side secret, I've done it. Okay? I've done it. I saw that guy do it and I said, I've got to do this. I've got to do this. So I can't do it every day, all the time, but I've done it because I saw somebody else being kind and generous. But had I not seen that person do it, it never would have crossed my mind to go to the maitre d' and say, I've got this. Right? And that just blessed someone else's day. It just blessed someone else. So we're going to get right back. So if you use, and here's what I learned this week about ChatGPT, real quick, is that you can use it to plan your trips. A person I was watching on YouTube this week talked about agentic AI. My friend went to a conference where they were talking about agentic AI, and what my friend said was, it's something you can use to actually make travel plans. So what did I do? I said, I want a place here in Spokane where I can take my cell phone and make a meditation video at the river. And it told me where to drive, where to walk to a bridge. And then on the side of the bridge, it said there's beautiful rocky sides to the bridge where you can put your cell phone on a tripod and video the river for meditation. ChatGPT told me that, and I drove there. Yep, I followed the ChatGPT directions. I drove there. It's a state park here in Spokane, and videoed the river. Use AI in your digital vision board. Use all the tools that you have at your disposal. And so I'm constantly learning. I didn't know about agentic AI until this week. There's a lot of things I did not know until this week. And so I have a whole different outlook on life just from this week and what I've learned this week. So anyway, that's it. One of the other things I'll say real quick, because we're running out of time here, is to have a weekly routine. Now, you don't have to look at your money as often as I do, because I am a spreadsheet nerd. So I am into my spreadsheet. And because I get paid weekly from my teaching income, every week I have money coming in. So I'm adding it towards my debt payoff. I'm adding it into my spreadsheet. so that I have a good monthly budget to share with you all. Oh, thank you, Wayne. Wayne's saying have a safe flight, because as soon as this live is over, I'm going to pack all of my stuff, like my ring light, my laptops and stuff, pack all this stuff up, and we're heading to the airport. Now, I have some grace here because my plane's already delayed by 30 minutes. So, and I'm only 5 minutes from the airport. How blessed is that? So, I'll have no problem getting the rental car back to the airport, sitting there at the airport. Now, I can sit at the airport and grade my students. See, that's what I mean. I can do my work from anywhere. So while the plane is delayed, I will be sitting at the airport working, making money. That's me. I like to make money every single day. That's me. That's just who I am. I know you can call me bad if you want to, but that's who I am. I make money, I invest money. That's what I do. And we try to grow wealth here. So I need that money to pay down debt. And I'm already seeing that in July, I will have more money coming in than I had coming in June. Hopefully the rental money turns around, because that would really be a good help. But I hope that even though I didn't get through everything, like I almost never do on my lives, that you had some idea of how using a digital vision board can help you towards living a better future. What it does is it's giving me a dream. And as we all know, I chase my dreams. I have been chasing my dreams for almost 39 years. We're pretty close to 39 years now that I've been chasing my dreams. And they just keep coming true, one dream after another dream. So I'm going to keep doing that. I'm going to keep chasing my dreams. And on YouTube, you're going to see me chasing my dreams, whatever that ends up looking like, because we don't know. We don't know. But we do know it's going to be better than it is today. We do know that because I'm going to pay off my debt, which is going to give me more freedom, more options, and a much better future, no matter what happens. So thank you all for coming to my live. I'm always a minute or two over, and I don't know how I do that. I think it's because I'm old. That's what I'm going to say. It's because I'm old. So thank you all. I'm going to go pack up and get on my plane. And Lisa, I will see you Sunday. I hope that you're on Sunday at, I think, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. I have to check my alarms in my phone. But anyway, Lisa J. Stocks, if you want to learn about the stock market, she's the person. She's the person. So thank you all. Have a great rest of your day. And thank you all just for your support. Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.